All right, so now let's take a look at these this bluesy alteration changes. Now, obviously, like I said before, this is something that I'm calling it. If you say, oh, I'm going to do the bluesy alteration to rhythm changes to another musician, they might look at you a little bit funny. We're just calling it this just so that you can isolate these and know how to delineate between them. Now, basically, this one is, I'm just going to double check. Yeah, it's exactly the same first four measures. The B flat major, B diminished, C minor, C sharp diminished, and then D minor, G7, C minor, F7. Right? So once again, 1, sharp 1 diminished, 2 minor, sharp 2 diminished, 3 minor, 5, 7 of 2, 2, 5, 7 of 5. And then here, rather than going into let me just fix this here for a second. Rather than going into the B flat major 7, then to the B flat 7, then E flat major like this, right? It's a little bit different. What happens is we do B flat major 7 and then B flat 7 with D in the bass. So you can hear it adds a little bit of a bite to it, and adds a little kind of like a little bluesy feel to it. And then we go to E flat major and then E diminished. And then check this out. So it kind of has a gospel kind of feel to it. So it's like this. And I'm going to tell you something. That little pattern right there, that's a great pattern to get to know. You put like a little, like kind of a bluesy pentatonic thing on that. Oops. All right, that's a nice little pattern to know there, that little progression. And basically what's happening, B flat major 7, B flat dominant 7th with the 3rd in the bass, 4 major, sharp 4 diminished, right? And then we go to the 1 with the 5th in the bass, 5, 7 of 2, 2, 5, and then back to 1. Now, the G7 and the F7, I'm calling these altered chords. I was going to say alternate. They're altered chords. Now let's talk about what an altered chord, when you see that ALT symbol, basically it usually means that there's a flat 9 or a sharp 9 and then a flat 13 in there. So like, it would be like that with the sharp 9 or like that with the flat 9. The reason we say alt rather than putting in flat 9, flat 13, or sharp 9, flat 13 is to write in the flat 9 and flat 13. There's a lot of characters there, and it's going to start to make those chord symbols really get mushed together, and they're not going to look so clean. So when you see ALT like that, you know it's some kind of alteration. You could get away with just doing the flat 9. You could get away with just doing like the sharp 9, okay, or even just put in the flat 13 without the 9th, that's okay. Because if the guitar player or another musician is playing the 9th and you leave it out, no big deal. All right? But the main thing to know is that you're going to be altering those tensions. It's not going to be something like that where it's a natural 13 and a natural 9. Okay? So when you see that alt symbol, worst case scenario, if you don't know what to do, you could just play the 3rd and the 7th. Okay? And at least at that point, you're not going to conflict with another musician. Or you can just know that you need to alter those tensions. Let's say you threw in a sharp 11 in there, okay, by accident. Okay, well, you know, if someone else played the flat 13 in there, it's not going to conflict, all right, because it's a whole step away. All right, so that's pretty much this alteration. And once again, and you can just keep repeating this. Oops, sorry. Let's talk about that fingering in the bass line because I messed it up once. I'd probably get your middle finger on the E flat, second finger on E, thumb on the F, go up to the second finger, get your thumb on the G, second finger on F sharp to get down to the thumb on F. From the beginning. Oops. All right, so you gently start to speed that up. One thing that I like to do is, start at a slow tempo. That's not super slow, but you get the point. And you can even just take those 4 measures. Do 4 measures at a time. The next time, do a little bit faster. And then, just add it, speed it up a little bit more. And then on the G7, sometimes I'd throw in that flat 13 in there, okay? You can do that. You can add in the alteration, put in the flat 9 as well, sharp 9. Right, so you can try messing around with those different alterations, right? But the other thing to remember also that I want to make sure that you know is that you could take that last section of the rhythm changes, so like measure 5, 6 there, where it's, oops. And you can add that on to, like the beginning one. The basic one. So the point is that you can mix and mingle in between these. Where you're usually going to find the copy and pasting going on is the first 4 measures and then the next 4 measures. And what I mean by that is you're not usually going to take and play the simple one for the first 2 measures and then, oh, okay, now let's do this one for the next 2 measures, for measures 3 and 4. If for the first 2 measures you're playing the G minor, then usually in measure 3 and 4 you're going to play the G minor as well. Basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to establish these 4 and 8 measure patterns. You start to go down to 2 measure segments like that, and it's the harmony is going to end up changing so much that you're not really going to lock into something. It's going to be more difficult to improvise. It's going to be more difficult for other musicians to be able to hear what it is that you're doing, more difficult for you all to be able to lock in. So that first 4 measures, you're probably going to keep it as one of these, all right? And then the next 4 measures you can change and do the 1 to 1 7, 4, 4 minor, or you could do the, that whole like kind of bluesy gospel walk up. All right, so see you in the next chapter.